just broke down in tears because that was not what I wanted him to see, but also at the same time, just opened up to him and I just told him never let anyone tell you what you can and can't do because I know what that can do to you as a person and as a player. So it was very emotional, but overall in that moment, I just wanted to win. I want to make sure my brother had the best experience possible.
My guest today is DeAndre Bernard, who was ranked the number 2 basketball player in Canada coming out of high school. He's played collegiately, played professionally, all over the world, but it hasn't been an easy ride. DeAndre, you've had more setbacks in one career than most athletes have in a lifetime. I don't just want to talk about the setbacks. I want to talk about what's happening inside your head through it all. The doubt, the overthinking, and how you kept betting on yourself. But first, for those of us that don't know, what's basketball culture like growing up in Canada?
Basketball culture was very competitive. Toronto's a big city, so there's many hoopers out there. So it was always competitive, lots of talent, and almost like an underdog mindset because there was always a stigma on Canadian hoopers that Canadian hoopers were soft and couldn't play at the next level. So we all had almost like an underdog mindset, growing up, which I think built a lot of us, like you see now in a lot of players in the NBA that are Canadian with a lot of success. They play like they have a chip on their shoulder. So yeah, that was all almost like the culture. Always just playing to prove something, always feeling like you had something to prove, and never never having any regrets when it comes to being on the basketball court, just leaving it all out there on the floor.
Sometimes that chip on your shoulder is the best motivator.
Definitely. No, definitely, right? I think it was so important for myself. I always played with a chip on my shoulder. I started playing basketball really late. So I went from being someone who wasn't necessarily known or ranked, and then within a whole year, everything changed. But then even then, I still felt like there was a lot of things that I was being slept on about when it came to my talent and who I am as a basketball player. So always played with that chip on my shoulder mindset and mentality.
And it wasn't an easy ride at all. So
No.
you get to your senior night, your family's there to see you for the first time in college, and your team's eliminated from playoff contention, and your coach leaves you on the bench. What were you thinking in that moment?
Me being the person that I am, just the ultimate teammate, competitor, just wanted to win. For me, that was an extremely emotional night. Just knowing that my family was gonna be there. They had never came to any of my collegiate games. I told them not to come because I wasn't sure how it was gonna go, but they still went out of their way to, come see me at a time where, there was lots of struggles going on, like back home and whatnot. But my family decided to still come. And the typical thing that they do, they'll start you, which I got to do. I got to play the first 2 or 3 minutes of the game. And then after that, I didn't get a chance to play after for the rest of the game. And my other teammates who were seniors got to play. So that was kind of something that stung a little bit. And after the game, like I just broke down in tears and I was extremely emotional, but more so because I have a little brother he's 9 years younger than I am. And he was coming off of like a massive injury. And I knew he would at some point would be next in line to play college basketball. So just broke down in tears because that was not what I wanted him to see, but also at the same time, just opened up to him and I just told him never let anyone tell you what you can and can't do because I know what that can do to you as a person and as a player. So it was very emotional, but overall in that moment, I just wanted to win. I want to make sure my brother had the best experience possible.
Love for your brother and that perseverance doesn't stop you from ever playing again. You go on to play professionally after that. How gratifying was it to sign that first professional contract?
Extremely, because I ended up getting done right when COVID hit. My first summer, dealing and experiencing with the COVID situation wasn't easy. I didn't play basketball for a couple weeks, months, and we have a league in Canada called the Canadian Elite Basketball League. They finally decided to go through with what they called the summer series at the time, which was a shorter season, and an opportunity for the pro athletes to play again within almost like the NBA, like how the NBA had a bubble. We had the same exact thing. And I went to a workout with the team and I was not in shape at the time, got cut from the team, which was the first time I ever been cut. And I was open on my eyes, like being understanding that you have to be prepared and ready for any moment. And then eventually fast forward, I think it was right before the season ended, one of the guys on the team ended up getting in trouble due to COVID restrictions and reasons. So they brought me back. So that was a great experience to be on that team and winning a championship. But I hadn't played. My mind, that didn't count as my first contract. or my first official season. And I just went into about almost like a 2 year span of not playing anywhere. Maybe more so like a year. The first year was I was at home, didn't get to play. I was waiting on a contract. My agent said we were working on something. Nothing came through. And I think I got to a point where I was like, this might be it. This is the end of basketball. I was a little bit depressed. Back to, like you said, with my brother was home. And the first, like something that he told my mom was, I've never seen DeAndre like this. Like, this is not like him. And for someone who like demonstrates what it takes to be playing at a certain level, I've never seen this out of him. And my mom shared that information to me. And just overall, like, I think it opened up my eyes, like, being prepared if I get the opportunity again, and I wasn't sure if I was going to, and I ended up signing to play in Saskatchewan while working another job. Like, I just already made up my mind I was gonna get another job for the time, signed, and then just ended up going to training camp, and making the roster was extremely fulfilling, and it felt like I was here, but still, like I said, diving back to how I always grew up and played, I had something to prove. So that whole season, I played with a chip on my shoulder. Like, no one signed me for the whole year. Now I have something to prove. I belong here. So diving back to everything that you said, that first contract was extremely fulfilling.
I'm curious, how did you handle the overthinking and the doubt? I mean, a year without playing, and you hear your brother say some things to your mother that really inspire you and motivate you, but you still don't have the solid idea or the solid contract that you know you're going to play again. So, how did you handle that mentally?
Once I got over it, I got to a point where I kind of like locked back in. So I just decided to just, it was like bet on yourself, basically. Like, got this job. And before I got the job, one of my old friends I reconnected with, who's like a strength and conditioning guy, a trainer, and I saw that he was doing some stuff. And I reached out to him and I asked if I can get in the gym with him and work out. And he's like, yeah, for sure. This is our rate. And at this time, I'm coming out of school. I don't have any money. So I was like, okay, now I gotta definitely get a job. So I was working and spending what I was making, I was spending directly towards myself and my body. And just knowing that whenever that time came, I was gonna be ready and prepared. Yeah. So once I locked back in, I was ready to go. Like, I was just excited about the opportunity if an opportunity came. I wasn't sure where it was taking me, but things felt good and felt positive.
And now you're a world traveler. You've been all over the place playing professionally. What are some of your favorite places?
Overall experience, I would say Germany. My last season in Germany was great. Overall, the country. First time I was in a big city. I was in Cologne. Everything was great in terms of how they took care of us. The basketball was great. The fans were great. We had a pretty great season all the way up until the playoffs. Unfortunately, we got upset the first round. But overall, everything was fun for me. Honestly, it brought back a little bit of a spark that I needed when it came to basketball because there's there's ups and downs, right? And I think I was at a point where I was coming off a season overseas where it wasn't the best. I was kind of put in a position that I don't think made me successful, try to get out of it, and I couldn't get out of it. So I had to kind of overall just do what was best for the team and help figure out how I can help this team win basketball games. And then going into our season in the CBL in Canada wasn't the best either. Just not really getting a chance to play, getting hurt. So going to Germany was like almost like the juice or the spark that I needed again. So I would say overall, I would definitely say German.
What are some of the toughest lessons you've learned playing professionally that you wish you knew sooner?
That is a good question. Something first things first, routine, right? Like when you're in college, they make your routine, they make your whole entire schedule, right? When you're in college, you have to worry about school, you have morning workouts, you have weights, then you have practice and every whatever else comes with it, study hall, everything. As soon as you're a pro, you're on your own. You make your own schedule. And not only do you make your own schedule, 60% of the things that you were doing are no longer a part of that schedule anymore. You don't have to worry about school. You don't have to worry about exams. You don't have to worry about study hall, meeting with your academic advisor. So you're on your own and you have lots of free time. It's tough, right? Like you don't know. Like for me, it was tough. It was something that I struggled with. My first couple years, understanding what a routine looked like, understanding what extra work looks like and what not. So I would say the routine was the biggest challenge for me.
And I'm curious about not your physical routine, but your mental routines. What are some mental routines that you couldn't go without now?
Well, now as a basketball player, first things first, I separate basketball from my everyday life. So when I'm playing, I'm playing. I'm all the way locked in. When I'm not, I'm still a basketball junkie. I'll watch basketball. I listen to podcasts all about basketball, everything, but I don't think about my particular season as much as I used to. Before, it used to drive me crazy. Like I couldn't get away from if I had a game, I was extremely locked in on the game and what happened, going back and watching film, which is very important to watch film, but also not overdoing it, I think is very important as well. So for me, when I'm off, I kind of just take the time off mentally and just kind of reset because when I do get back into whether it's practice or a game, I'm giving over 100% to that particular moment.
Almost every single conversation I have on this podcast goes to this idea that athletes sometimes get stuck into this idea that their identity is stuck in their sport.
Mhm.
And just like you're talking about, just because you're a basketball player does not mean that's all you are or who you are, period. There's obviously much more to DeAndre than just the game itself. Why do you think athletes get so stuck in the identity tied to their sport?
I think it's because it's what they've been doing their whole life, right? Like, since you're a child, you probably played this sport or maybe other sports, right? So growing up, it's all you've done. And then when you're at a younger age, you're told that this is what you eat, breathe, sleep, right? Like for myself, it was always basketball, right? This is what you do. You have to do it every single time. You got to think basketball. You got to sleep basketball. You got to eat basketball, right? And I think you do it for so long, that's all you know. And then you get put into a label as a basketball player or just an athlete. When in fact, like you said, you're not just a basketball player, you're not just an athlete. There's more to you as an individual. That's something that I figured out about myself later on. More so as I became a pro, there's other things that I like. I have other interests. It's fine to dive into those interests, especially when I'm not playing. If I don't have a game, I put in the work. I had practice. I got there early, got my shots up. I stayed back, got extra shots up, went to the weight room. I can now spend time on these other things that I'm interested in and still have that healthy balance with whatever sport it is. So I think it's just overall just being thrown into it at a young age. And this is what you're told. This is who you are. And you do it for so long. You kind of almost become one with whatever that is.
And it's paradoxical because it's the obsession and the passion that created the level of skill that you got to in the first place.
Absolutely.
With you specifically, do you remember a moment where you knew you had to separate who you were as a person and who you are as a basketball player?
Couple times, actually. I would say for sure when I was in college, there were a couple times where I was like I'm extremely obsessed with the sport of basketball. I still am. I just understand. I know how to deal with it now, and I know myself. But when I was younger, it was all I did, all I could think about. And I have a couple friends that helped me with that. Like, understand it's not just about basketball, right? Like, there's more to yourself. Go do something else. Like, take some time away from basketball. Like, I spent lots of time with a good buddy of mine. His name is Donovan Ham. His dad is Darvin Ham. He coached the Lakers a couple years ago, played in the NBA. And at the time, I was in junior college, about 45 minutes outside of Atlanta, and he was the assistant in Atlanta. And I just remember being around the family, playoffs. Darvin is very much locked in, like obsessed with it. As soon as the season got done, it's not that he took a step away from basketball, but there's an understanding that sometimes you need to decompress. And that was something that I learned just being around that family. Like it is okay to decompress. It is okay to take a little bit of time to yourself and prioritize family, prioritize the things that you're interested in. So that was definitely one time because right when they lost, also we were coming off of a loss in the national championship, or not championship, but the national tournament at the junior college level. And I was same thing, just obsessing over it, still even after the fact that we had lost.
Identity is definitely a big challenge, and it's great to hear that you've figured it out and you've had some great advice along the way.
Definitely.
Here's a separate thing. Finish this sentence. The real reason most athletes never reach their potential is blank.
I would say themselves and their mind. Like I think the mind is very important. The mind is the most powerful thing, and I think it's more important than the physical attributes itself, right? Like I think you can be extremely gifted as a athlete. You can be extremely gifted as a basketball player, but if your mind is not there, you can't succeed, right? And it's that's in many ways, right? Like one way is just being able to lock in, like yeah, you're a great basketball player, but how much are you really putting into the sport when it comes to what it takes? Are you getting there early? Are you putting in the work? Do you want it as bad as you say you want it? Right. But also on the flip side, can you decompress? Can you understand that it's just a sport? Right. Like this is a conversation that I've had with my brother because as obsessive as I am, I think he's a lot more, especially at this age. And I have to tell him all the time, just have fun. At the end of the day, this is a sport that we grew up playing as kids. It's meant to be a sport for children, right? And the older you get, more comes with it, whether it's a scholarship, whether it's it being your job and there's contracts involved, right? I understand the stresses that come with it, but you have to understand that it's just a sport. Basketball at some point will stop bouncing, and that is fine. Enjoy it while you're still playing, right? And understand that you have to decompress and believe in yourself overall, right? That's another part of the mind that I think is very important. Like I play with many basketball players who their shot, in basketball, you're taught to shoot the basketball a certain way. There's a textbook form. And I've seen basketball players with great textbook form, but can't shoot the ball. And I've seen players with extremely awkward looking shots and they can't miss. And some of those guys that can't miss, those are the guys that believe they're the best player on the court every single time. Some of them are still some of my best friends, right? And it's crazy to see them shoot the ball so awkwardly and not follow any fundamental, which is obvious fundamentals is important, but over half the battle, I believe, is the mind. Like if you believe that you're that good, if you believe that you can make that shot, you've won half the battle.
I agree. The mind is a battle that's fought every single day, too. One of the things that we talked about backstage, also relating to the mind, is comparison. What advice do you have for others struggling with comparison?
The biggest thing, just run your race, right? You shouldn't compare yourself to anyone but yourself and where you were at the day before. Something I fell victim to, being ranked, the number two player in the country at the time. And then when it's all said and done, still finishing in the top 10 my high school career. And now I'm comparing myself to all the guys that I played with. I played with and against guys like Jamal Murray, who went off to Kentucky at the time. Another guy was at UNLV. And then another person at my position was at Tennessee. And at that time, I felt like the two of us were very much similar in terms of style of play and potential. And the one thing I couldn't get out of my mind was, and there's no disrespect to University of North Florida. Like I learned real quick that there's basketball players everywhere and the mid-major level has a lot of talent. But in my brain, I was like, how did I end up at North Florida? And he ended up at Tennessee. Jamal's at Kentucky. This guy's at UNLV, this guy's over here. So throughout my whole entire first year, even though I was redshirting, I sat around and just compared. And I think I spent more time comparing than I spent really just focusing on myself and improving my game. So I would just say run your race. You can't look at other people and their journey because everyone has a different journey and everyone's story is meant to be different. And if everyone's story was the same, I don't think we'd be having this conversation right now, to be honest, right? Because then you just be getting the same answers over and over again. So just run your race overall, and overall, at the end of it all, just compare yourself to yourself.
I love that advice. It's so clear, it's so simple, it's so easy to understand. Run your race.
Definitely.
Switching gears for a second, what's something very few people know about DeAndre?
I make music for fun. I think those like my close friends are starting to see that now. That was something I never shared. And then recently, just for the fun of it, I might just throw something at them. But yeah, I make music for fun. I love music a lot. I'm a huge music guy. I think if I wasn't playing basketball, I would have tried more to learn about the production of music and understanding like that side of music more than anything. Because I think it's something that doesn't get talked about enough. Everyone loves an artist, but no one speaks about the production side of it. So that is something that I do for fun, something that I've been doing in my off time a lot now.
You never know, man. You got a long life to live.
Exactly. Who knows, right? Maybe one day I'm making a song for one of my favorite artists or something. I would hope.
It's awesome. DeAndre, the idea of simple wins is more than just the scoreboard. What does simple wins mean to you?
Simple wins for me is improving every day, first off. That's the most important thing. But then also, actually, maybe not the most important thing, but very important. I think the most important thing is being able to inspire others, right? I think there was a point where I was looking for inspiration, especially when I was younger. I just had this conversation actually with my family about success and what does success look like. One could say that I didn't have a successful career because I was ranked the number two player in the country. I never got to the NBA, right? However, I look at it differently where I say there's not many people that got a chance to do the things that I've done, right? Like I got a scholarship being from Canada, which is extremely tough. Lasted all 4 years of my collegiate career. Was able to stay and play Division I basketball. Got a chance to play overseas, play all around the world and see different places. Got a chance to participate in training camp for the G League. So I've done many different things. And now, fast forward, I'm currently in like what I would call like a reset for myself, my mind and my body. I'm decided to take the season off. So I've been off at a high school helping out with different students and kids and coaching. And a lot of these students are inspired by my story. So I think for me, that is my simple win. Just making sure that I'm inspiring the next kid, right? And then posting on my TikTok, I didn't think it was gonna have the traction and blow up the way that it did, but it did. And I think that opened up my eyes a lot. Like I had a successful career. I'm continuing to, be successful in the things that I'm doing. And I'm inspiring the next generation to go and follow in my footsteps, but have their own journey and their own story. Right. So for me, that is my simple one. It's just being able to inspire the next person.
DeAndre, you're real, you're authentic, and you've got great advice. Where can people find you online?
You can find me online on TikTok. My TikTok is DeAndre Way 22. And then on Instagram, my IG is DeAndre Way as well. Those are the two places where I spend most of my time, specifically on TikTok. If I'm posting something on TikTok, it's definitely about my journey or things that I've learned along the way as a basketball player.
DeAndre, I appreciate you, man.
Definitely, thank you.
I have one final question for you. Who else would benefit from listening to this conversation? If you have someone in mind, go ahead and share the episode with them right now. If you don't think of anyone immediately, go ahead and leave us a review on whatever platform you're on so people just like you can find the episode. Thank you for your time. Stay strong.